Humans really are curious creatures. We explore, observe, experiment, and create. There is an internal push to reiterate and upgrade, a questioning machine in our brains that targets every aspect of life and existence. Any field or concept will be milked dry, any mystery will be solved, and every possibility will be analyzed and brought forth when possible. It is no surprise that civilization as we know it was built because of these traits, because of the millions of thinkers, scientists, philosophers, and workers who each dedicates his or her entire life for the sake of answering a question or coming up with some sort of invention. It is wonderful and inspiring, but it isn't always good. Just as much as these people across history succeeded in their quests, even more people failed, were wrong in their ideas, or wasted their lives. And it is no surprise that some will go mad, will do bad or even do evil things for the sake of their ventures. Of course, I am talking about mad scientists, immoral physicians, and mentally disturbed individuals who find themselves experimenting on nature and life, usually owing to a combination of unusual or unsettling personality traits, and the unabashedly ambitious, taboo or hubristic nature of their experiments. Today's subject is Kenjaku from Jujutsu Kaisen, a monk-like person who had plotted for centuries, hidden in shadows and manipulated countless lives to do things for him, all while experimenting on human life, cursed energy, and pushing to achieve what its limit can reach. Kenjaku is a wonderful villain. He is very mysterious in a way that isn't corny. He's often just pretty much chilling, playing board games, relaxing at the beach, blowing bubbles in the children's playground. He is nonchalant in the coldest of ways. Yet, not a single time have we, the audience or the characters in the world, including his so-called allies, ever known what he is up to at any given point. Kenjaku is a master manipulator, and it's in a way you don't see often, wherein he doesn't just brainwash and steer people into doing things a certain way, he often simply misleads people, and never places limiters or barriers on their actions. Kenjaku observes. He is always captured by others' actions, beliefs, and values, so he does not restrict them or enforce things on them like someone who simply manipulates often would. When Mahito was acting all crazy and outside of the group's plan and collided with Jogo's intentions, Kenjaku didn't care to agree or disagree with any given route, like he always does. In fact, more than anything, he is simply just impressed by any and all phenomena he encounters. Impressed by Yuji's strength as a vessel, Muta's ability to use simple domain the way he does, Takaba's curse technique, and Choso's blood connection with his siblings. Kenjaku is just having the time of his life, patiently seeing everything unfold in front of him. He didn't object when Hanami might have lost her life when she decided to step in and rescue Jogo. He showed not a single ounce of care when Jogo died, even though he wanted to absorb and control him. He manipulates, but he does not force things to happen. For him, whether something goes according to plan or not makes absolutely no difference, because all of what happens is simply fate and the way it chose to happen, even if it undermines his plans. Which already puts him in an entirely different league when it comes to evil, smart anime villains that manipulate people and events. He is just so inhumane while being human, if that makes any sense. For example, he never gets mad. The only two instances of him showing any signs of being upset are the two clashes he had with Yuki Tsukumo. One was a clash of ideologies in which someone capable was doubting and countering his belief, and the other, a physical one, where she, as the powerhouse and insane fighter she was, forced him to push the hardest anyone in the series ever did. But other than that, he barely shows any emotion aside from being impressed and intrigued by things he doesn't know. His curiosity is the only thing that gets him. So, as you can see, Kenjaku is a very odd guy. He goes by the flow of things and he simply plants seeds along the way. He manipulates in endless ways, but rarely does he physically force anyone to do anything. He gaslighted the disaster curses to believe in their own utopia and work alongside him, veiling his real intentions and basically just using them as pawns who act on their own will. He placed the cursed finger in Junpei's apartment, leading to his mother's death. He placed the one in the juvenile prison to test Sukuna's strength, give him more power and cause chaos for the Jujutsu society. He even placed the finger in the high school for Yuji to consume and have Sukuna resurrect, essentially starting the whole story. Shit, in fact, he gave birth to Yuji in the first place for the whole story to even exist. Remember that club mate Yuji had in episode 1? Yeah, Kenjaku was the one manipulating her. And what is fascinating the most about him is that he doesn't force anyone's will against him, even though he can. Kenjaku is one of the 5 strongest people in this universe. He easily overpowers 99% of characters. But he doesn't use his destructive power all the time. In fact, he almost never does. He has like 3 fights in the whole series, only one of which was a serious death battle in which he went all out. He plans thoroughly. He has backup plans for backup plans. But he doesn't force anything to go a certain way. He never lies to anyone. He simply misleads them. Kenjaku never states his whole plans, leaving holes for people to fill in. He will steer thoughts a certain way, but I cannot find any instances where Kenjaku straight up lies to anyone. He really is scary. When he visited the US president and convinced him to invade Japan and fetch research subjects in the form of sorcerers, he told them anything that interests them, and they were all facts. He simply left out the fact that they are powerless there, and he personally will wipe the majority of them to fuel the culling game. Kenjaku does this to literally everyone except for Sukuna, who he generally probably fears. But even Sukuna, who is one of the smartest and most perceptive characters, is aware of how multi-layered and unpredictable Kenjaku is and can't get a proper reading on him. So we have established that he is powerful, extremely intelligent, stoic man who has a playful approach to life and events, and a curious endeavor to explore possibilities. So where is this madness and experimentations I alluded to earlier, and how does Kenjaku fit into these themes? Well, let's explore what he's been doing for the last 2000 years. See, Kenjaku is obsessed with the potential of cursed energy and has been trying to come up with ways to merge humanity and curses and maximize all potential outcomes, whether that be changing all of life as we know it or simply altering and creating individual, unique beings, all for the sake of evolution through cursed energy. When he found a woman who got pregnant from a curse, Kenjaku did, well, a lot of messed up experiments on her. He used the body of Noritoshi Kamo, a powerful leader and sorcerer of his time, who had blood manipulation. So Kenjaku was able to mix his blood with the pregnancy to possibly alter the fetuses, whether that be actively balancing the human and curse attributes, or giving them strong blood-related techniques, or at least aspects of human consciousness. We don't really know. What we know though is that 6 of the pregnancies failed and produced only dead children. Another 3, however, gained life. Kechizu has the physical appearance of a cursed spirit, but he has a human heart. Eso has a mix of the two, and finally Choso, who is one that was almost a success. He is basically a normal human, but still has cursed spirit attributes when it came to his technique and biology, like the inability to die from blood loss, having poisonous blood, and his overall adaptability and cursed energy levels. And he inherited the blood manipulation technique. I would assume that the woman died after physical exhaustion, otherwise there would definitely have been more. Choso feels almost human. He has the heart and mind of one, but is not quite there. And Kenjaku definitely feels that way, since he essentially doesn't care about him and refers to him as a failure, just like all 9 siblings. However, there is a 10th sibling, the one called Itadori Yuji, who Kenjaku himself had to take scientific backshots to produce as the final perfect result. Sure, he might have creepily stalked Itadori Jin for his compatibility, had remnants of an unborn fetus corpse from 1000 years ago, and got the job done. And this time he actually does care about the son and has big hopes for him. So a big question asks itself, why? The answer for Kenjaku is simple. Why not? I don't think of Kenjaku as a normal human, because a normal human doesn't live thousands of years. A human ages and changes in the same body. They don't swap bodies out of convenience, like tools discarded out of necessity. A normal human certainly can't be a man and then a woman. For all we know, the original Kenjaku could have been a woman instead of a guy. He has a lot of maternal inclinations. But he's just that, as far as we know, which just adds up more to the mystery. We don't know his origin, we don't know his story. We cannot get a grasp of his mentality because we simply don't know enough. When Hanako and Mimiko threatened him, saying, "You will regret what you've done," this is what he had to say. He forgot what regret is like, just like he forgot all sentiments and behavior that a human has. Even if he loves or cares for Yuji, it probably is just because he is his successful invention, his masterpiece, not because he is his son. A parallel with Yaga draws itself. Even though Panda isn't really a human, he loves him like a son. Meanwhile, Kenjaku doesn't see his sons are more than trials in a tube. Yaga doesn't like using his technique. He doesn't like playing with life and souls and the dead. It's something like a taboo in his philosophy. Meanwhile, Kenjaku, well, is the opposite of that. And I believe Kenjaku would have been interested in acquiring Yaga's technique, just to have fun with it, see what he can do. And we also have the culling game, in which he contacted several sorcerers from different eras and made contracts with them to resurrect them back, all for different reasons, even though they were misled and or manipulated as well. Those of them that know him personally don't trust him either. He gave powers and abilities to thousands of people and threw them in together with his sorcerers from the past and made them fight to death, all as an experiment, so that only the strongest of the strongest survives. And even those are also being saved for something else, for the big final plan. He threw Japan into chaos and caused fear and death just to elevate the level of negative feelings and therefore cast energy in the country. The US soldiers that were deployed along with Chinese ones and possibly others from other countries were all used as fuel as well. The culling game is just like kodoku or kojutsu, which is a practice derived from Chinese gu magic, in which sorcerers would mix several insects in a jar and let them kill one another until only one survives. The fluids of the insect that survived would be used to poison an individual with a curse that would control them, cause them misfortune, or kill them. Culling game is kodoku. It's Kenjaku's biggest experiment and his magnum opus, where he is trying to ultimately cause the birth of the merger. We still don't really know what exactly that is, but he absorbed and manipulated Tengen, got Sukuna out, imprisoned Gojo, and then helped set up his death in a way, got the culling game in motion after Shibuya, and all of that is for the merger to happen. Think of it as a way in which all of humanity will ascend, going beyond human or curse, because a being unprecedented will be born. Not even Kenjaku knows what shape it will take or what it will be exactly. And that is what thrills him the most, the curiosity. Even if this all fails and it doesn't turn out as he thinks it would, Kenjaku said it would have still been fun to try at least. He is unhinged. In a video titled The Psychology of Jujutsu Kaisen, I labeled Kenjaku as a psychopath monk with the wisdom of a millennia who chooses whatever he likes to learn more and achieve the impossible, to blur the line between human and curse, body and soul, life and death. and I still think he is exactly that. In an even older video, I talked about the story of the real Ryomen Sukuna. From the mythological figure to the historical records and even to a horror creepypasta story that was popular in Japan in the mid-2000s. The story of a cursed corpse of two conjoined twins that were found in a construction site by some workers, who all died or suffered lethal injuries after that. It's a really scary and interesting story that is definitely something that Gege pulled inspiration from, so I highly recommend you check out that video. In it, I mentioned a figure called Mononobe Tengoku, who bought the twins in a circus and locked them up in a room with multiple other children, and let them starve and fight till death, possibly even driving them into some cannibalistic actions while they were at it. And it was the conjoined twins that survived. And this guy Tengoku went ahead and mummified them, and he and his cult started worshipping the corpse. Some really horrifying stuff. There are a lot of parallels from these stories and Jujutsu Kaisen. Like the school where Yuji used to go was cursed when construction was being done there. Sukuna's mummified body parts and his deity-like status, along with the twins' origin, and ultimately Kenjaku, who sounds a lot like Tengoku, who was the evil guy doing all of this stuff. I am happy that we got confirmation that Sukuna was in fact a twin brother originally, which confirmed the theory, and added to that the involvement Kenjaku had directly when it came to Sukuna, Jin, and Yuji. Monks and scientists and doctors and priests and engineers and so on and so forth. Some people do bad things we cannot imagine a normal human would even have the nerve and heart to do. For the sake of a goal or an ambition, nothing escapes humanity's lust and evil. Even if that lust and evil took a physical form, it would still be manipulated and used by a human. Humanity would still be worse than that somehow. It will surpass its own dark side. And that sums up everything you need to know about Kenjaku. There was a dedicated section in which I go over some historical scientists, doctors, and just more evil and messed up people who did some crazy stuff. Like stuff you cannot imagine. And I was trying to tie that with Kenjaku. But obviously I scrapped that because, well, you get the idea, hopefully. You get the idea that humans are insane. Some of them, at least. Some are crazy evil we cannot imagine. Kenjaku is a perfect vessel to portray that evil because he's almost immortal. He's wise, he's so smart. He basically is a master human, but a very bad one. And I find that very fascinating, and it's what made me make this video about him in the first place. Some people are mad because Kenjaku was killed too early, not satisfying or wasted. I don't agree with any of that. I always thought his death was perfectly executed. What is there left to see from him? Simply having him fight a major battle for the sake of fighting it? In this already too long and action-packed finale? That would be uninteresting, to be honest. Kenjaku already fought his major battle in the manga against Yuki, who is the closest antagonist to him in the story. A rematch with Yuta makes no sense since this is Kenjaku and not Geto, so why is it even a rematch? If we calm our shonen combat craving and examine the narrative with a more open mind, we would see the poetic way Kenjaku was put down. At least for me, not only did I love the Takaba fight, but it is one of my favorite moments in the whole manga. It was genius, providing Kenjaku with something new and interesting and drawing him towards his downfall in a way not he or us readers expected. He's always been like this. He's always craved something new and fun. That's why he does all of this. Look at this panel. He literally states it. The Takaba fight was just perfect. Him falling into a trap is also great. We just got too comfortable seeing the villains win that people start to call out well-executed plans simply because they were from the heroes. Kenjaku, the smartest character in the whole universe, being outsmarted is also another cool thing to see. This man who has manipulated and played with people all over the timeline got tricked at the end. Yuta is an important asset. Wasting him on fighting Kenjaku simply for the sake of a fight to happen would have been a giant stinky shonen moment, but luckily Gege doesn't function like that. But ultimately, the mad scientist who gave his whole life for the sake of an experiment and he died just before the results is the most perfect, refreshing and telling way this could have happened. What was he supposed to do? Just stay around until the merger happens and cries and claps his hands when he sees it and says something like, "This was truly my Jujutsu kaisen." Who knows, maybe the merger isn't even gonna happen. Maybe Kenjaku is still alive somehow, not like his death was fully confirmed. It was mostly implied. I'm just sick of people who don't even read the manga. They just see leaks on Twitter and then go on and complain. But those people probably didn't even reach this far into the video, to be honest, so who cares? I love Kenjaku as a character, of course, not for what he does, obviously. Feel free to share any observations and insights you have about his character, and let's have a conversation in the comments down below. Or preferably join my Discord and the community. There is a Patreon if you want to support what I do and help me make more and better videos. Gaming channel is linked down there as well, and see you in the next one.